Hello, welcome to another edition of Serious Matters with Olukunle, and I hope you had a very wonderful weekend. However, we're going to be looking at a number of issues today on this video, and this particular one talks about 8 things Babangida said in an interview he granted a few days ago. The former military President General Ibrahim Babangida retired in an exclusive interview with one of the dailies, aired his opinion on many burning national issues from Boko Haram insurgency to banditry, Amotekun, and Shege Kafasa. Ibb took us down memory lane to why he decided to step aside and how the late General Sani Abacha toppled the interim national government of Chief Ernest Sonekon, among others. Below are 8 things Ibb, popularly referred to as the Maradona in Nigeria political circle, said in that interview. And I know that's going to interest you to know about the things that Ibb has said. However, you remember that there was a time when it was being heard that Babangida died. And, the news was all about the place. Some persons were celebrating, some persons were like, wow, no, it's not supposed to be. But, but then so Babangida is not just a Nigerian, but somebody who has a say in the political circle of what happens in the leadership circles of Nigeria. And so let's look at these 8 things that he said during this exclusive interview. Number 1, how to end Boko Haram. He said Nigerian security agencies need more intelligence for their operations. He says leadership and character to be able to check the current insurgency. Ibb said, I think we should concentrate more on intelligence information. For example, on Boko Haram, we need more intelligence about how they operate, their leadership, their character, who teaches them, who trains them, and so on. I'm sure he's speaking from experience. He says a lot of information needs to be gathered before you confront them. Don't forget, they are not conventional army. They are just people, small in number when compared to the regular conventional army, Babangida said. Very interesting on Boko Haram. Number 2, he talked about what motivated him. He said, Gowon motivated me and other Northerners to join the military. He said, if you remember, there was a drive to get a lot of us from the north part of the country to join the military. The government, then led by Tafawa Balewa, carried out a deliberate campaign to entice us from secondary school to join, to go to the military training and subsequently to military institutions to become military officers. So it was that drive. General Yakubu Gowon came to our school as a captain then, and we got all inspired when he spoke to us on why we should join the army. In my class, about 15 of us got admitted into the military college in Kaduna. So it was a drive that made us to join the military. It had a drive that pushed him to join the military. Number 3, he said, I feel a sense of satisfaction reciting Quran. He said, I feel a sense of satisfaction as he recited the Quran. General Ibb has the habit of reciting the Quran when asked about these habits during the interview. He said, thank God the media doesn't seem to know that. I think it is good. Don't you think so? It is personal to me. So I feel a sense of satisfaction. Also reciting the Quran. Number 4, talks about how he's been coping without his wife. The former military president has revealed that he enjoys the company of his children since the demise of his wife, Mrs. Ibrahim Babangida, on December 27, 2009. He said, I have very caring and understanding children. They try to fit in where their mother has left. He said, when asked whether he was shopping for another wife, as speculated in some media, Ibb said, that's what the media wanted. A lot of people asked me, and I said, that's what you media said. It is not necessarily what I said. Well, that's not a direct answer. That's not a direct answer to that question, but then let's take it as he said it, and that's the way it is. He's keeping it away from you now. So he's just saying what you say is what it is. So let's just leave it at that. Number 5. His proudest moment. Talks about, he says that this former military president said his proudest moment in life was commanding the Nigeria Army. His proudest moment in life has been commanding the Nigeria Army. That is one of the highest point, the high point of my profession. Every one of us wanted to be commanders, and I was able to achieve that before I became president. I think being the chief of the armed staff was my proudest moment, as well as what we did for the army in the terms of retraining, reorganizing, and making it a good fighting machine, he said. Wonderful. 6. He talks about why they introduced free market economy in Nigeria during his time. He noted that he introduced Nigeria to a free market economy He said, and I quote, that when we introduced the free market economy, a lot of people didn't understand what we were trying to do. But now people have accepted it as the best way for our economy development. The best way is the open market system. And this is what we are practicing now. This we did in 1986 and now it's 2020, he pointed out. Wonderful, wonderful things that he pointed out. Now the next one, he talked about why military coup became the order of the day in Africa. IBB said military coup became the order of the day in most African countries because there seemed to be a competition in various countries across the continent right from 1952 till the 90s. But unfortunately, he said, and I quote, in the process of building the country, that is Nigeria, there was military intervention and that brought about the emergence of military regime. Don't forget that it was happening in other parts of the country of Africa when we had coup in 1966. In 1952, there was a coup d'etat in Egypt, and subsequently there seemed to be a competition in various countries in Africa. If Ghana had a coup, maybe the next would be Nigeria and vice versa. It spread to other countries in West Africa and elsewhere. So military regimes in some of these countries became the order of the day, he said. And now talking finally on Sambisa Forest and National Guards. You Nigerians, that is you Nigerians, shut it down because by then you feared that I was trying to introduce it to perpetuate myself in office. So the idea was killed. We were sensitive to the plight of Nigeria, but I think that fortunately it is coming out as Amotekun, Shege Kafasa, and others. We thought about it and felt we should provide another very strong force, though not as strong as the army. If the police failed, then there would be a second force. If that force failed, then the army would get involved. We tried to isolate the army from involvement in internal operations. That was why we came up with the concept of National Guard, and that's what you see that majority are saying that, look, the army, and I had a chat with an army officer, some weeks ago, and he was telling me that a lot of events are happening in Nigeria in which the army are involved or which the army are being brought in to intervene, where the armies are not supposed to intervene. The armies are national securities, not internal securities. They are national. They are supposed to defend the circles of Nigeria. They're supposed to defend the borders. Whatever affects the image of the nation is what they are supposed to fight. And so, but then they are now being brought in, to help to fight internal causes and internal situations, which are not supposed to be. And that's because we probably do not have enough police, or the police are not doing enough, or what have you. And thank God that, the likes of Amotekun and the likes of these forces are coming up now, which, from what IBB is saying, is in support of it, which is something that they had wanted to do. He said, as usual, Nigerians said no. This man wants to perpetuate himself in office, so he is going to have another force to stop him from being toppled or something like that. I feel bad that it has been taken over, if there is anything like that, but I also feel vindicated. If the guards were there doing their training, it won't have been possible to take over the forest, IBB said in that interview. And so what that implies is that the Sambisa forest was supposed to be a training ground for these internal guards, but then today it's been taken over by terrorists, the Boko Haram insurgents, and all the kidnappings and everything. Well, this is it on Serious Matters with Olukunle, an exclusive interview with IBB. These were the things that he said. You can go through the video again and drop your opinion regarding the things that he has said, his contributions to how far Nigeria has come today, and what you see him as. Thank you very much.